ninth canto, chapter 18, I think I'm assigned 117 verses or something like that. Different system here. So, yeah, I was told,
Give us your life.
summarize 18:24 through 33 and speak on 32, but unfortunately I have another class I have to give, so I have to leave at 8:20 at the
We'll
latest.
just do one short comment.
Okay, but where are you? I think you're up till 9:18 in the Sanskrit. Unless raise your hands, you are Sanskrit proficient. Yes? Speak Sanskrit? Oh, should I do it in English then?
Yeah.
Oh, it's better for the two of us at least. Okay, good. So we're starting with text number 24. King Yayati regains his youth. Text 24. I'll just read the Sanskrit. Katera janni sadire tatrasma rudhati pitu yabe. Good, because I wouldn't want to try to retell it. Continuing, as Sukacharya, who in this context is the father of Devyani, Sukacharya listened to what had happened to Devyani. His mind was very much aggrieved, condemning the profession of priesthood, his profession, his role. It's like, why was I born a Brahmin? You know, we hear people saying, like, why was I born here or there? His mind was very much aggrieved, condemning the profession of priesthood and praising the profession of unshavriti, collecting grains from the fields. He left home with his daughter. So I was told to just read the text and then do the one purport later, so we'll do that. Translation, text 26. King Vrishaparva understood that Sukacharya was coming to chastise or curse him. Therefore, before Sukacharya came to his house, Vrishaparva went out and fell down in the street at the feet of his guru and satisfied him, checking his wrath. So brahmacharis, how many brahmacharis here? One of your godbrothers or fellow ashram mates is really mad at you, they're going to curse you. You can fall at their feet and beg their forgiveness. And if it doesn't work, they probably can't curse very well in this age anyway. But you can try, do the best you can. The powerful Sukracharya was angry for a few moments. But upon being satisfied, he said to Vrishaparva, "My dear king, kindly fulfill the desire of Devyani, for she is my daughter, and in this world I cannot give her up or neglect her." I'll read this purport. Sometimes a great personality like Sukracharya cannot neglect sons and daughters, for sons and daughters are by nature dependent on their father. The father has affection for them. Although Sukacharya knew that the quarrel between Devyani and Sarmishta was childish, as Devyani's father, he had to side with his daughter. He did not like to do this, but he was obliged to because of affection. He plainly admitted, although that he should not have asked the king for mercy for his daughter, because of affection, he could not avoid doing so. Text 28. After hearing Sukracharya's request, Vrishaparva agreed to fulfill Devyani's desire, and he awaited her words. Devyani then expressed her desire as follows. "Whenever I marry by the order of my father, my friend," so-called, this is the nature of friends and enemies in the world. She says, "My friend, Sarmishta, must go with me as my maidservant, along with her friends." Vrishaparva wisely thought that Sukacharya's displeasure would bring danger, and that his pleasure would bring material gain. Therefore, he carried out Sukacharya's order and served him like a slave. He gave his daughter Samishta to Devyani, and Samishta served Devyani like a slave, along with thousands of other women. Prabhupada describes in the purport the nature of Kshatriya Dharma in the previous age. We won't read that. Go on to 32. 30. When Sukracharya gave Devyani in marriage to Yayati, he had Sarmishta go with her. But he warned the king, "My dear king, never allow this girl Sarmishta to lie with." He could not refuse Sarmishta. He thought of son, and thus he had sexual intercourse with her after her menstruation. This kind of lust is not against religious principles, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:11, Dhamma virudho bhuteshu kamusmi. Sex life, not contrary to the principles of religion, is sanctioned by Krishna. Because Sarmishta, the daughter of a king, had begged Yayati for a son, Their combination was not lust, but an act of religion. Om Gyanatami Anjana Shalakaya Chakshu Umanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namaha Shri Titanmano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Lupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapanandikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sharada Shivasam Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So I'm very excited. I haven't been here for Rath Yatra in a lot of years, so I'm excited to have the opportunity this year. I want to thank the devotees for allowing me to come. I'm not sure who chose this verse and decided to give this one to me. Whoever you are, please know I will not come back for another 15 years, because this is how you treat guests. You get verses like this to talk about, you know. Could have been something nice, like how bhakti evolves in the heart of a sincere soul. You know, no, I didn't get a verse like that, I get this one. So, I will share a few comments on this. And as I mentioned, I have to apologize because I'm one of the many teachers for the GBC Leadership College, and it happens to be going on now. So at 8:30 our time, I have to be online for another course. So I'll probably leave here about 8:20. And the office is just down.
It's right here. I'll take it.
Okay, great. So 8:25 or 27. Is you going to set it up?
8:25.
Are we logged in and everything?
I'll do that at 8:50.
Okay, so okay, good. Okay, so I have to leave a little bit early. I was trying to leave really early, so you just blew that cover for me. So anyway, I have to try to say a few things. I read all the purports, and I understand the policy, I guess, for the Krishna House or Bhakti Academy here is to read a bunch of verses. So you may want to go back and look at some of these other purports and see how Prabhupada commented on this. Certainly, it's a very interesting series of verses. And I was thinking, and nobody, I assume, is anybody here like just happened to wandering off the street today for the first, anybody been coming here less than a month? No, I mean to Krishna temples. Yeah. I mean temples, no, okay. So we can just imagine somebody walked in off the street first time and reads this whole section, you know, about one person is cursed, and then they have to give up their old age, and they ask their sons, can I give it to you? And maybe that's still coming up yet, and 3 or 4 of them say no, and then one finally said yes, and then the priest doesn't want to do it, but he has to, like, it's all complicated. Samishta threw Devyani in the well, right? So like, you know, a lot of like, really? And then the king came and rescued her, and because he had pulled her out, she said, oh, I'm yours forever, because you rescued me? I mean, for modern context, it's like, really? Seriously? And I think a lot of people would actually say, this is your scripture? You know, like you're supposed to like believe all of this and follow all of this, and this is all what happens. So it's an interesting story. And I was thinking, maybe this is too old for some of you, or too impure for some of you, but like I remember watching like the Star Wars movies years ago, and it begins with like whatever it is, somewhere in the universe a long time ago, right?
A long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Thank you. A long time ago in a galaxy far away. This is kind of like that. It's like a long time ago, a different era, different age. So we have to kind of hear it in that way. Definitely parts of it seem to be totally inconceivable. Now some of us may come from a very pious or Hindu background, and your grandmother told you all these stories from the time you were 2, and you believe every single bit of it. And God bless you for your pious birth. You know, for others of us, it may be like your grandmother told you these stories, and you couldn't wait to get out of the house because you couldn't believe the things she said, and you stumbled across this guy who's trying to make some sense of these things, and that's like really good. Others of us, this may be sometimes the first time we've heard this section or other sections of the Bhagavatam, and you kind of wonder, well, how does this fit in? I mean, other things seem so practical. You know, descriptions of the modes of nature seem to really line up. You know, you drive down one street and there's trash everywhere, not Toronto, but someplace you think like, whoa, that's the mode of ignorance. And you go some other place and there's greenery and fruits and flowers and clean, and you think, well, that's the mode of goodness. Ignorance was over there, this is goodness. And you know, mantras parshas to kunteya, we experience happiness and distress, it comes and goes. Something just really, really makes sense. And on the basis, I think, more of those sections than perhaps something like this, we try to give our lives to Krishna consciousness and to the process of bhakti and to purification. Because those things we can measure and we can understand them. Sections like these, and maybe like, wow, I mean, is this true? Is this like some kind of myth? Is it just something, I mean, Kshatriyas are not supposed to like say no to a woman that approaches them and wants a child, so how does that apply? I mean, after all, I lifted weights in high school and always thought it was a Kshatriya, so this might be a pretty cool thing to understand. I mean, there's a lot of ways, and we know, at least on one occasion, maybe a bunch, Prabhupada told some devotees, he said, my movement is not for making Kshatriyas, my movement is for making Brahmanas. And I think maybe, I don't remember the circuit, that might have been in response to some of these kind of things. You know, Prabhupada, can I marry 19 girls? But no, my movement is for making Brahmanas. So we have that there. But at the same time, when we think about past history, past ages, there's a lot of things, even in modern society, they cannot explain that happened in the past. I mean, I don't know if any of you have, like, you know, seen the pyramids or the sphinxes or things like that, or Stonehenge. They don't know how they built those things. I've remember seeing like some videos, like some of the pyramids and things. You can't take a credit card and stick it between the rocks. It's that, and like, how do you do that with a hammer and a chisel? Right? I mean, if you look around modern buildings closely, you'll find, even like with all the modern, you know, there's like gaps at the floor, right? There's little gaps, and of course we know this is a nice pucker clean temple. There's no cockroaches, but other places, that's where they go. They find those places. So with modern technology, they can't make, what do they call it, the floorboard, but the baseboard, right? If they can't make that perfectly fit together today, how is it, with all the technology, how is it hundreds of thousands of years ago, they built those amazing, can't call them buildings, edifices with such precision? How is that possible? Were they, seems like maybe they had some kind of mystic powers or did things that we don't know about. Even like in the Western example, like in the Bible, I'm not a scholar of the Bible at all, but I believe there's sections that is either Noah or Moses or both, talks about, hey, they were something like 600 years old. Now the West is like, whoa, that's fantasy. Nobody lives to be 600 or 800 years old. How is that possible? Well, according to that book, in previous ages, things were like a lot different and things happened differently. So we can kind of, you know, modern people maybe with a more kind of a scientific mind, we can think in terms of that. Well, there's a lot of things that we even experience today we can't explain. There obviously were some special powers or something that was going on. It was a different, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Different rules were judging things. So I think it helps, at least for me, it helps to see things in terms like that. At the same time, we can read these histories as given by the Bhagavatam. We can understand these were selected. I mean, why did Sukadeva Goswami, the different acharyas, why did they tell specific stories? They were inquired from, Parikshit Maharaj was inquiring, and then they tell a story and somebody else was inquiring about a story somebody else was inquiring. It all was connected and it was all beneficial, ultimately for one's spiritual understanding. So the real question, I think, is for us to ask, okay, what are we supposed to learn from this? Is there something that I can learn from this? What does it mean to me? How does it apply to me? For instance, let's say, it's pretty rare outside of Mayapur, sit in a room with 3 sannyasis. Like, wow, that's Shakti. I hope you're all breathing deep. Take it in, right? Pranayama, get all that Shakti there. So like, I mean, why does Prabhupada tell the sannyasi, why is sannyasi supposed to read this? What's he got to sannyasis, co-wives and not exactly wives like this, that, and you can't refuse the one. It's like, oh my goodness, close your ears. Well, there's some practical insights here. So what can we learn from this? And I think it's important for us as devotees to always be thinking, and it makes our lives actually much more interesting. It's like, okay, Krishna, what are you going to teach me today? Like maybe it's snowing out, maybe like I got in the elevator from your place, and there was a guy there, and he had a banana, and he was getting ready to go out for a run. So he started chatting with him from floor 2 to parking lot, and Oh no, it wasn't until that. I was brushing my teeth this morning, and the guest room where I'm staying, no critique at all, but you know, when you travel a lot, right? Some bathrooms have a plug in the sink, right? Others don't. So if you're trying to be environmentally conscious, they all say, for men at least, when you're shaving, you gotta like plug the sink up. Don't have the water running the whole time, right? But you go to half the sinks in North America at least don't have a plug. So there was no plug in the sink. So my mind was thinking, I hate it when there's no plug in the sink. And then I caught myself, I thought, you hate it? You're going to allow your consciousness to hate something as insignificant as a sink? Right? What else are your emotions going to tell you during the day, you know? I hate it when they cut off. Oh, I like that tree. Oh, that looks a nice looking person. Oh, they look really mean. Oh, look at that person. What a beautiful dog. Oh, that's an ugly dog. I mean, why am I allowing myself to be influenced in that way? So everything that happens, you know, shaving, I'm like, I hate that sink. Wait, what am I thinking? It's a learning opportunity for us. When we're in good association, we should always remember it's a fantastic learning opportunity. I mean, we're blessed with 3 sannyasis here and so many Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So what can I learn from their association? Sometimes we don't have such good association. So we can lament, we can get upset, we can get angry, we can be afraid, or we can think, okay, what am I meant to learn now? What can I learn from these people? And as I heard recently, that was so wise, everyone is a guru to us. Every single person you meet is a guru. Some people teach you what you should do. Some people are teaching us what we should not do. But there's learning opportunities in every situation. When we make mistakes, and we all make mistakes, I think part of being a devotee is, okay, what do we learn from that? And we hear stories. I didn't have direct association with Prabhupada. We read the histories of those that did. And I think Hari Suri particularly points out, I think it's Hari Suri, that Prabhupada was very forgiving if you made a mistake once. If you made the same mistake twice or 3 times, he was not very forgiving. He would sometimes get pretty heavy. Like, you did it yesterday, I told you not to do it, why'd you do it again? So in other words, why are we so dull-headed that we're not learning? Okay, when we make a mistake, everybody makes mistakes. It's just the nature of the world. We're conditioned souls, we have imperfect senses, etc. So we make mistakes. But do we learn from that mistake? You know, I said something to somebody and in a joking manner, but they were offended. Okay, what I learned from that, don't do that again. You know, I was in a big hurry and I rushed something and I burned an offering. Okay, don't do that again, get there earlier. You know, I jumped into, I have this experience all the time when, you know, you see something that's not as good as you think it ought to be. So then the tendency, for me at least, probably a lot of us, is like jump in and try to fix it. Okay? I don't know about the rest of you, but my experience is like 60% of the time, it only makes it worse. So I'm trying to learn to like think a little bit, okay, if I point this out that this could be better, like whatever, you know, 3 people are playing cartels and it's way too loud, you can't hear the mantra. So if I tell those people not to play, 1 is going to be better. 2, are they even going to understand what I'm saying in the middle of kirtan? 3, are they going to be offended? Are they going to go away? Are they going to be hurt? Is this bhakta so-and-so that's like right on the edge of their Krishna consciousness, and one more senior person criticizes them and they're out the door? You know, we should try to think of those things. And if we make a mistake, you know, learn from that and learn how to do better. So this story, there's a lot to learn from. We may not comprehend how does that work, and I don't know if those ethical principles, how does that apply today, and some of them they definitely don't. But jealousy, anger, envy, greed, it's all here. You know, like these 2 ladies, they're best of friends 1 minute, and the next minute one of them's throwing the other one in a well. Isn't it? Like, I personally don't know anybody that ever threw a friend in a well. I mean, it's right. I've heard of people throwing other people under the bus. Right? That happens a lot. But in a well, that seems pretty intense. And what happened what happened as a result of how complicated things got, right? Because it was Sarmishta that threw Devyani in the well, and then Devyani had to get back at her. So the whole thing, and it just, I offend you, you offend me, like that. It just gets worse. I'm not sure it's in the Bible, it's from the Bible. Somebody isn't like a commentary on the Bible, like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It just leads to blind people, right? That's the full.
Eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
Is that in the Bible? That is that taken from that?
I think it's in the Bible.
Okay, so they have the similar understanding, So all these factors come in, and they become enemies. And because they allow themselves to think, again, one day they're friends, the next thing is, no, you offended me. I mean, seriously. I mean, obviously there's some leela here, because ultimately it's going to lead to great devotee, and it's going to be recorded for all time. But she grabbed your clothes by mistake at the last minute when, like, Lord Shiva's passing by and you're jumping on the lake, and you're going to get that upset? I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know how you do it now, but when I was first brahmachari, there was no such thing as your own corpus. Was it like that where you were, Ron? We had a barrel, and you came down in the morning, somebody did the laundry, I don't know who, but they definitely didn't use an iron. There was a big barrel full of clothes, and you grabbed the dhoti, and you grabbed the kurta, and you put them on. Which was not really a good idea, because let's say, I mean, spiritual stature Maharaj is 10 times bigger than me. Physically, I don't know if his kurta would fit me. I don't know, but if I grabbed, that's all that was left, that's what I put on that day. They changed it soon after. I don't think they did that more than a couple of weeks, but that's what they did. So, how big of a deal is it you accidentally grab somebody else's clothes and put it on in a rush? It's emergency, right? It's like, you parked in my parking spot, I'm going to throw you in a well because you took my parking spot. There's like a modern example. Like, that's a little over the top, isn't it? And then you threw me in a well, now I'm going to curse you. I'm going to get my father, and we're going to curse you, and you're going to counter curse this, that, and wow, isn't it? So, we may not be able to relate to the circumstances, but the principles there are important for us. We have to check ourselves. Somebody says something that's angry or unjust or hurts our feelings. We have to kind of stop the momentum, right? And we may think, well, I'm justified. Okay, you may be justified, but are you right? You may be justified to be angry, or you may feel that it's appropriate for me to lash out because of what they did to me. But again, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth makes the whole world blind. So as devotees, we can see this jealousy, this anger, this greed. It exists. It's there. And they are actually our enemies. Like Prahlad Maharaj said to his father, you don't have any enemies, father. Your enemies, your own envy, your own lust. That's your enemy. Vishnu's not your enemy. What do you think? The enemy is what you're allowing yourself to succumb to. So this is a great story for us to, like, in a very dramatic way, like, okay, so she got a little upset with her. The way things happen in this world, sometimes things go wrong. They're just like swimming, right? And I think Shiva comes by, and it's like, whoops, that's not good. So they're in a big hurry to kind of, dress themselves properly. They grab the wrong, simple accident, but the whole thing blew up from there. Because they weren't very conscious. How my words, how my actions are just going to contribute to making a big mess. And sometimes we also don't see what's the big mess going to be. But we should learn the principle is, if I simply elevate the conflict, I may feel, okay, that's not such a big deal. Oh, now they came back. Responded that's not such a big deal. Okay, maybe I shouldn't do it, but gosh, it feels good to get angry and to say a few nasty things and to, push back. Okay, now they respond. Oh, now it's getting serious. Now I got to really, and then next thing you know, you got a big war in your hands, interpersonal war or social war. It grows like that. So one, to know these things are our enemies and they cause a lot of pain. To recognize they exist everywhere. Sometimes our mind has this sense, which is played upon by modern society. If I just was in I don't know what they have here. In Chicago, they have an expression, escape to Wisconsin. Right. I grew up in Michigan, not too far from here, and everybody talks about we're going to go up north. We're going to go up north. I don't know here. What do they all? They all flee to someplace further north out of Toronto, or they go to the lake. What do they do?
Muskoka.
Us.
Muskoka.
Muskoka, right? In Muskoka, no one grows old, no one gets angry, everyone's happy. The plumbing always works. It never snows too much. Mystically, your yard and your driveway are plowed every morning, no matter how much it snows. Right? It's in the mind, we think. But we can learn from this. These are very, we're hearing about kings and princesses and Brahmins that have mystic powers that can curse people to get old. These are powerful, powerful people of the past, and yet subject to lust, envy, anger, greed, as we are all today. So they exist everywhere. So when our mind tells us, wow, it must be like really nice there. No. You know, you can read things about the rich and the famous, right? Then they have, there was some TV show 20 years ago about the lives of the rich and the famous. And it's not like everybody's happy. Why do people watch those shows? Because it's all like nasty stuff, and people like nasty stuff. You know, it's all about what we're reading here, throwing people down the well and things like that. So even though they have so much opulence, we sometimes think, well, if I only lived in that house, wow, we drive by, see some beautiful house, oh, it'd be nice to have that house. Maybe subtly or not so subtly, geez, they must be happy. No. And if you go down the houses, if you do a statistical search, somebody should do this one day. What number of people are suffering from alcoholism? What number of families are affected by drug addiction? How many places are there suicide? How many places have somebody's lost a job recently? How many places there's something that fights with their neighbor, et cetera, et cetera. How many places had a car accident in the last month? You go down and you check off. Every house is going to, okay, you know, whatever it is, 1 out of every 10 houses is alcoholism and all the pain that goes with that. Every few houses, they've got a child or, you know, a son or a daughter that ran away from home and they're suffering from that. Every so many houses, there's somebody with terminal disease and they're suffering from that. You add it all up, I don't know if there's any house up there where things are very content. The mind tells us, oh, what a beautiful house, oh, this and that, so many things, but it's illusion. And this kind of a history can help us understand that. As it describes in the Bhagavad Gita, lust for material things is never satisfied and it burns like fire. Burns like fire means like no matter what kind of fuel you put into it, it eats it up and it wants more. And again, you know, the Krishna is so kind, he gives us this whole material world so we can experience these things. Or as it described, if we're more intelligent, we learn by watching. Like, what's her name? Beyonce. Raise your hand, you heard of Beyonce? Okay, she's said to be one of those beautiful women in the world and a great singer, and just launched an album a few months ago, like with country music, which is a new genre, where else big. And her husband is a big guy. I don't remember his name. He's a big rapper. He's a very famous musician too, okay? So like, for the male side of the room, it's like, wow, shoo, she's beautiful. If you had a wife like that, you have to be happy. No, he was committing adultery. He's married to this beautiful, beautiful woman that, like, you know, is famous on covers of magazines, and he's not satisfied. His lust is not satisfied. He's having relations with somebody else. And for the woman's side of the room, it's like, wow, if I just had a rich and powerful and famous husband, then I'll be happy. No, because he could be cheating on you. So whatever body we have, whatever our condition is, whatever tendencies we have in this material world, I'll tell a joke if I may. I might have told this one in Calgary. But there was a youngish woman walking down the street, 35 years of age or so, and she hears a voice, help, help, help. Remember this one? Remember this joke? Kind of, that's what I'm joking. I can tell it again. Okay. She hears help, 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 help. You know this one, Mark? And she's looking around. Where's that coming from? And then suddenly she realizes, well, it's actually coming from down below. And she looks and it's a frog. That's amazing. So she picks up the frog and the frog says, help me, help me. She says, well, how can he help? He says, I'm actually a handsome prince, like this story. I was cursed to become a frog. But if you kiss me, I'll become a handsome frog again. We can live together ever after. So she looks at him, she puts it in her purse, and she starts to walk away. And he says, wait, stop, didn't you hear what I said? I'm a handsome prince. If you kiss me, I'll turn into a prince, we'll live happily ever after. So she pulls out the frog from her purse and she says, listen, I've been married twice, I've been divorced twice, I would much rather have a talking frog. So she's a wise soul, right? The illusion of the handsome prince is like, been there, done that, it didn't work. So, that's the real mess. And we see all around us, we see wealthy people, they're not satisfied. We see powerful people, they're not, I live in Washington, D.C. Christian, protect us. Wealthy, powerful people, they are not happy campers. They are angry, they are lusty, they are bitter, they are greedy, they want more and more and more and more. And, we pray that they'll all eventually become happy. But we understand from the Shastra why this is, because we're spiritual beings thinking we can be satisfied by some material experience. And our minds and our senses, because of past habits and the modes of nature and our rebelliousness to Krishna, we're affected by this. So, therefore, it's described as devotees, we have to practice tolerance, like Sarmishta, when Devyani grabbed her clothes, she could have said, all right, she made a mistake, we're friends, what of it? Let's, get on with life. Instead of, we can see this whole plot from her getting unnecessarily angry. So we have to think like that. Whoa, something happens to me, and maybe I have cause to be angry or cause to be upset. Maybe it's a good opportunity for me to practice tolerance. Maybe this is a good opportunity for me to practice patience. And just to make sure, we've all had the experience. Social media, somebody writes you something, it's like, whoa, that's not, how dare they say that? And you sin. Oh no, what did I do? Right? Because you can't pull it back. Some platforms I think you can, but a lot of them you can't. It's out there. And when she or he gets that, what are they going to do with it? They're going to send it back to you, it's going to escalate, and they're going to send it to 20 friends, they're going to copy 100 people, and they're going to put it on Facebook, and 10,000 people are going to see it, and you're going to spend the next 10 years trying to undo that little mistake. Isn't it? When you go back, even like you look at history, great nations fighting, right? Like what's a classic? Like, right, Troy and the Greeks. How many years did they fight? How many people got killed? All because somebody was too lusty and wanted somebody's wife. Phew, that's like pretty dumb. The whole history goes back like that. What king, World War I, okay, there was lots and lots of things leading up to it, but at some point in time they assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire's throne. Boom! Millions of people died because of that. That's what set it off. Again, lots and lots and lots of factors contribute to that, but that one. So, as devotees, it's important for us to keep in mind the things of this world. Money is going to come and go, and fame is going to come and go, and power is going to come and go, beauty is going to come and go. It's going to be painful as these things come and go into our lives, but we can't get too affected by them. We can't get too caught up in that. We should practice being a little bit detached so that we're not disturbed. I was in Chicago recently, and I saw it again in some other city. Really, such a great example of material illusion. Driving on the road, this big billboard, kind of a handsome guy's face is there in the middle of the thing. It says, the title says, I mentioned this in Calgary, Eternal Hair. It's like, okay, we recognize the soul wants eternity, but like that? That's what you want, And it's a total illusion. There's no such thing as eternal. You have a nice crop of hair. May you be blessed to keep it your whole life, but you may not. Okay? Don't make that your goal of life, to keep your hair. Again, other traditions, the Bible talks about don't lay up your treasures where moth and rust destroy, right? Lord Buddha explained that the source of all pain in this world, suffering, is due to what? Desire. Desire. So, again, very materialistic people, they're thinking, they don't have this perspective. It's just like work, 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 chase, 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 grab, 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 enjoy, enjoy, so-called, limited pleasure. But Lord Rishabdev elsewhere in the Bhagavatam tells us that don't chase the same pleasures that are available to the dogs. He's very graphic. The dogs and hogs that eat stool. But why are you chasing the same pleasures? Actually, human life is meant for austerity, it's meant for purification. It's to awaken knowledge of who we really are, why I'm here, who actually is that person that we're all looking for, how do I connect with him, Lord Krishna, what's real love, what's real opulence, and that's a much better way than, as we see here, the rapidly decreasing, the downward spiral of these characters giving in to their lust and their greed and their anger, and it's a mess. It's a big, big mess. And then just final comment, you know, we sometimes it's like, oh, Rishabdev says austerity. I mean, for most of us in the world, maybe everybody, definitely those of us living in the West, like austerity. I mean, you ever hear that word outside of Krishna, outside of our temples? You ever hear that word austerity? Sometimes you hear like at a, you know, martial arts class, self-discipline, which is kind of the same thing, but generally you don't hear austerity. But then Prabhu would comment so many times, yes, austerity, what's it mean for us? Chanting, dancing, and feasting. That's our austerity. Sometimes even chastise disciples. Why are you making it more complicated? You know, why are you thinking you have to fast more than the holy days that we fast? Why are you trying to give up sleep? You need a minimum amount of sleep. You need whatever amount of sleep to be healthy. Don't try to do artificial austerities. There's enough austerity in our process. So that's our austerity. Just like you have to sit here for another 10 minutes, a little austerity, and then prasadam. Wow. You know, sometimes it's a little austere. There's only like 6 or 7 things for breakfast. That's pretty austere. Other times you go for breakfast and there's 14. You know, sometimes it's a little austere. You have 2 sweet balls and you go back for the 3rd one and there's no more left. Oh man. You know, that's our level of austerity. It's pretty mellow. So I looked it up this morning. I have to find it actually, but I remember hearing, sorry I can't give the source, that Prabhupada had said, just become Krishna conscious and enjoy life with a thrill. I'm looking for that reference in those years. I don't think I made it up, but it's great. It's true. Krishna conscious. Just become a devotee and enjoy life with a thrill. Because even the difficult times, if we remind ourselves, we associate with devotees, if we're hearing the philosophy, we remind ourselves, even in the difficult times, and there will definitely be some difficult times for all of us, there's opportunity to learn. If nothing else to learn, right, don't do that next time. Don't make the same mistake. That's an important lesson to learn, and an opportunity to come closer to Krishna. So I've got about 4 minutes seconds if there's a question or comment or correction from exalted senior Vaishnavas. And then I have to run out the door in a mode of passion. I'm sorry. Yes, Maharaj.
You mentioned about the First World War. It was started about over a lusty man taking somebody's...
First World War was assassination. The Troy was it with Helen of Troy, right? She was kidnapped, or somebody wanted to kidnap her, or something like that.
Our 2 main epical tales that we love to read about, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So the straw that broke the camel's back was when Draupadi was broke the attempt to destroy. And the other was, so it's the same thing. It just started the war. I just want to say one thing that came to my mind too. On the first walk I did together, I was on Highway 2 here at Kingston. And it was an early morning, and some guy was picking up, someone had dropped someone's garbage right in the middle of the highway. So I was happy to be walking there. We started talking. And I don't know what brought him. He said, we have a saying in Ireland, you know, that a war is usually started just by the flapping of the wings of a butterfly.
Wow.
It just starts with that, a slight provocation, a mere trifle, you know, starts a whole explosion. It starts with something small, insignificant. It That's like it's.
And yeah, we don't want to be part of that. We want to be a force for the other way, which is, hey, be tolerant, be patient, be humble. You know, if something's wrong, it should be corrected. And we know in our own movement sometimes, I mean, there's serious mistakes are made. But we want to correct those things in the mood of, one, stopping it from happening again, of course, but also correcting, rectifying, helping people be better people and not just, you know, tit for tat. Like in America now, in the United States, I don't know what it is in Canada, many of the prisons are for-profit organizations. Which means, you think about it, once they put you in jail, they're getting paid to keep you there. So if that's the culture, how much are they going to be enduring to make sure you don't come back again? If anything, once you get out, they want you to come back, because they're getting paid $40,000, $50,000 to keep you there. So how horrible is that? There's not a plan of rectification. So, thank you all very much. Look forward to dancing and chanting with everybody later today and tomorrow.